4 million pre-orders in a week. Is Jungkook the secret weapon BTS is preparing to break Billboard again? What if the biggest clue about BTS's next global move isn't hidden in a teaser image, a cryptic logo, or a comeback schedule, but buried inside a number so large it feels almost unreal? 4.06 million. That is the figure now echoing across fan communities, industry circles, and global media headlines, and with it comes a question that refuses to go away. Is Jungkook about to become BTS's decisive card for conquering the Western market once more? When BTS announced their fifth full-length group album, Arirang, few doubted it would perform well. But almost no one predicted what would happen next. Within just 7 days of pre-orders opening on January 16th, the album had already surpassed 4.06 million reservations, according to data released by distributor YG Plus and reported by Korean media outlet V.net. By January 22nd, the record was official. BTS had not only returned as a full group after nearly 3 years and 9 months, they had shattered their own history. And yet, amid the celebration, the congratulatory messages, and the triumphant headlines, another narrative began quietly taking shape, one fueled not by official statements, but by suspicion, pattern recognition, and the collective intuition of millions of fans. Why is the momentum so explosive, so early, and so aggressively global? Why does the pre-save surge on Spotify look different this time? And why do so many fans keep circling back to one name when trying to explain it all? Jungkook. Is it possible that Arirang is not just a comeback album, but a carefully engineered strategy, one that leans heavily on Jungkook's proven power to dominate global charts? Is HYB quietly positioning his voice, his melody lines, and his global appeal as the album's primary weapon to crack Billboard yet again? The numbers alone invite suspicion. Within just 2 days, Spotify pre-saves for Arirang crossed 1 million. In 4 days, that figure doubled to 2 million, a pace that even seasoned industry observers described as unusual for a group album, especially one released months in advance. On Weverse, membership reportedly tripled almost overnight following the announcement. These are not the patterns of a typical pre-order cycle. These are the signals of something being anticipated, something fans believe will be worth locking in early, and in the hyper-analytical world of ARMY, nothing happens without a theory. The moment the pre-order figures went public, social media platforms lit up with speculation. Was there an unreleased snippet circulating behind the scenes? Had insiders hinted at a track designed specifically for Western radio? Or was this surge driven by something simpler yet more powerful? The expectation that Jungkook's vocal color would once again become the emotional and commercial backbone of BTS's global push. This isn't a baseless assumption. Jungkook's solo ventures have already rewritten what fans believe is possible. His ability to cross linguistic and cultural barriers, to blend pop accessibility with emotional depth, and to dominate streaming platforms worldwide has been proven repeatedly. When fans talk about his chart instinct, they aren't speaking metaphorically. They are pointing to data, to history, to patterns that feel impossible to ignore. When Arirang emerged with record-breaking numbers before a single track list was revealed, fans began asking uncomfortable but fascinating questions. Is Jungkook getting the most iconic chorus on the album? Is there a song structured around his vocal climax, designed to loop endlessly on US radio? Is HYB betting that his voice alone can bridge the gap between K-pop fandom and mainstream Western listeners? Some fans went even further, suggesting that the extreme Spotify pre-save numbers could not happen without Jungkook's effect. It is a bold claim, but one that refuses to fade. In fan forums, X threads, and comment sections, the phrase Jungkook card appears again and again, as if everyone senses the same hidden strategy, but no one has proof. Yet, officially, HYB has remained silent on these theories. What has been confirmed is the scale of the comeback. Arirang is scheduled for release on March 20th at 1 p.m. local time, marking BTS's first full group album since their extended hiatus. The album's themes, identity, longing, and universal love, are described as deeply emotional, reflective, and globally resonant. On paper, it sounds like a return to BTS's philosophical roots. In practice, Fans believe it may be something far more calculated, because timing matters. And the timing of Arirang feels anything but accidental. The Western music market is currently in flux. Streaming algorithms favor emotional hooks, replayable choruses, and voices that feel intimate yet powerful. Jungkook, often described as BTS's most globally legible vocalist, fits this mold perfectly. His tone translates. His pronunciation bridges language gaps. His melodies linger. If there were ever a moment to deploy him as the centerpiece of a global strategy, many believe this would be it. This belief is reinforced by memory. Fans remember how previous BTS releases surged when Jungkook-led tracks hit critical mass. They remember how his solo projects didn't just chart, but stayed. They remember the reaction from Western media, the radio airplay, the late-night show invitations. And now, as Arirang races toward release with unprecedented momentum, those memories feel less like nostalgia and more like foreshadowing. Could it be that HYBE learned something crucial during BTS's group hiatus? Could Jungkook's solo success have become a blueprint, quietly influencing how this album was structured, mixed, and even marketed? Fans think so. Some speculate that one track may already be engineered with Billboard in mind. Tempo calibrated, chorus placed strategically, and vocal highlights reserved for maximum impact. And then there is the album's title itself, Arirang, a word deeply rooted in Korean identity and collective memory, carries emotional weight far beyond music. By pairing such a culturally loaded title with a potentially Western-optimized soundscape, is BTS attempting something unprecedented, exporting Korean sentiment through a voice the world already trusts. That voice, many believe, is Jungkook's. Still, questions remain unanswered. Will Jungkook dominate the chorus lines? Or will the album emphasize group balance? Will there be a track clearly designed for US radio? Or will BTS once again defy expectations by succeeding without compromise? Is the pre-order explosion driven by confirmed insider knowledge, or by fan intuition that has simply become frighteningly accurate over time? What cannot be denied is the scale of anticipation. According to reports cited by Net, fans are already predicting that pre-orders could surpass 7 million before release, with nearly 2 months still remaining. If that happens, Arirang would not just break records, it would redefine what a K-pop comeback can look like in a post-hiatus era. In Indonesia, the excitement carries an added layer of hope. Fans celebrating the pre-order milestone are already whispering about a world tour, about the possibility that Jakarta could finally appear on the list. The album, in this sense, is more than music. It is a signal flare, announcing that BTS is back, whole, and potentially more strategically dangerous than ever. The question lingers, growing louder with each passing day. Is Jungkook the hidden engine behind Arirang's explosive start? Is HYBE preparing to unleash his voice as the ultimate key to Billboard domination? Or are fans projecting patterns that don't exist, chasing shadows cast by their own expectations? For now, there are no confirmations, only numbers, reactions, and an atmosphere thick with anticipation. For million pre-orders are not just a statistic, they are a message. And as March 20th approaches, the world waits to see whether that message will translate into another historic moment, or into something even bigger than anyone imagined. Because if fans are right, Arirang isn't just an album. It's a test, a gamble, and perhaps the most carefully played card BTS has ever held. And yet, as the days pass and the numbers continue to climb, another, more unsettling question begins to surface. One that even longtime industry analysts are hesitant to ask out loud. What if Arirang is not merely aiming to succeed, but to dominate in a way BTS has never attempted before? Because 4 million pre-orders in a single week do not happen by accident. They do not happen purely because of nostalgia. They do not happen simply because a group returns after a long absence. History shows that comebacks driven only by sentiment tend to surge briefly, then stabilize. What is happening with Arirang looks different. It looks accelerated. It looks intentional. And to many observers, it looks engineered for impact far beyond Korea. Behind the scenes, the global music industry is watching closely. Executives, radio programmers, playlist curators, and streaming strategists understand something crucial. Momentum before release often signals how aggressively an album will be pushed afterward. And Ararang's momentum is already behaving like a Western pop juggernaut rather than a conventional K-pop release. This is precisely why speculation around Jungkook refuses to fade. Jungkook is not just a member of BTS. In the eyes of the global market, he has become a proven bridge between fandom-driven success and mainstream validation. His solo tracks didn't rely solely on coordinated fan streaming. They attracted casual listeners, algorithmic boosts, and radio attention. They stayed visible. They lingered. That kind of staying power changes how companies think. Fans ask themselves, would HYB really ignore that data? In online discussions, ARMYs point out subtle details that feel too precise to be coincidence. The timing of the pre-order announcement, the immediate availability of Spotify pre-saves, the speed at which Western fanbases mobilized compared to previous eras. Some even analyze the language used in early promotional materials, noting how often global, universal, and emotional connection appear, phrases commonly associated with crossover strategies. And then there is Jungkook's silence. While other members have engaged lightly with fans about the comeback, Jungkook's relative quiet has only fueled the mystery. In the BTS ecosystem, silence is rarely empty. Fans remember past eras where the member most central to a title track revealed the least until the very end. Is history repeating itself? One particularly viral theory suggests that Ararang may contain a track design not just for charts, but for cultural penetration, a song that does not scream K-pop, yet cannot exist without BTS. In these theories, Jungkook's voice is described as the anchor, the emotional entry point for listeners unfamiliar with the group's deeper mythology. The logic is simple but persuasive. When the stakes are global, accessibility matters. This does not mean sidelining other members. On the contrary, many fans believe the strategy, if it exists, is about contrast. Jungkook draws listeners in, then BTS keeps them there. His vocals open the door. The group's identity completes the experience. In this framework, Ararang becomes less of a single album and more of a carefully staged narrative. Industry veterans quietly acknowledge that this approach would not be radical, it would be smart. Western radio, especially in the United States, still prioritizes certain vocal textures, melodic structures, and emotional arcs. Jungkook fits these parameters almost unnervingly well. His tone sits comfortably between pop and R&B. His delivery feels intimate without being fragile, powerful without being overwhelming. If Ararang includes even one track optimized for that environment, the implications are enormous. This is where Billboard enters the conversation. Billboard charts are no longer conquered by fandom alone. They require longevity, cross-platform engagement, and algorithmic favor. Fans understand this better than ever, which is why their theories carry an edge of realism rather than fantasy. They're not asking whether BTS can chart. They are asking how far Ararang is meant to go. Could it debut at number 1? Almost certainly. Could it stay there? That depends on replay value, radio pull, and general listener adoption. This is where Jungkook's name returns, again and again, like a refrain. Some fans recall how previous BTS albums balanced experimentation with accessibility, sometimes at the cost of radio performance. Others argue that Ararang feels different already, even without hearing a single note. The pre-order behavior suggests confidence, not just excitement, but certainty. People do not pre-save an album at this scale unless they believe something specific is coming, and belief, in pop culture, is often shaped by precedent. Jungkook has precedent. He has data. He has proof. That is why the phrase secret weapon has gained traction, not as hype, but as analysis. Weapons are not always loud. Sometimes they are familiar, reliable, and devastatingly effective. In this interpretation, Jungkook is not being spotlighted for ego or favoritism, but because the moment demands precision. Still, there is tension in this narrative. BTS has always resisted being reduced to formulas. Their strength lies in balance, in synergy, in the unpredictable way 7 distinct identities merge into one sound. Fans know this. Critics know this, which raises another question that lingers beneath the surface of all speculation. Would leaning too heavily on Jungkook risk disrupting that balance? Or is that fear outdated? Perhaps Arirang represents an evolution